Hello and welcome, Inspired Podcast community. This is your new episode. My name is Caroline, and my today's guest is Jude Dholah. And I hope I pronounced your name right this time. I know I
That's
asked you
correct.
the last time. Thank you so much. How are you doing today?
I'm very well. I'm fantastic. I'm just very happy to be here. This is exciting.
Thank you for saying yes. And you are from Toronto, Canada, right? And
I
you
am.
are a Proctor Gallagher Consultant dedicated to empowering individuals and organizations to achieve their highest potential. With a focus on transformative goal setting and mindset strategies, you help clients break through barriers and excel both personally and professionally, leveraging the teachings of Bob Proctor and Sandy Gallagher. Jude guides clients toward lasting success and fulfillment. So, this was my introduction to the audience. And now I have a first question for you, of course.
Yes.
It is, what inspired you to become a Proctor Gallagher consultant, and how has leveraging Bob Proctor and Sandy Gallagher's teachings influenced your coaching approach?
Yes. How did I become a Proctor Gallagher consultant is a little bit of a long story, but I'll tell it anyway. I met Bob Proctor in 2006. And that was because I was prompted by somebody at work. I was working at the time for Campbell Soup, the Campbell Soup Company. I was the credit manager. And although I loved that job I've been doing for over 20 years at the time, and but something was not clicking at work anymore. I was not feeling the energy, the challenges, the no love. I mean, it was like going. So I thought this is very unlike me. And I talked to somebody I really admire and trust at work, an older gentleman. He said, "Oh, there's nothing wrong at work." He didn't tell me there's something wrong with you. He said, "There's nothing wrong at work." He said, "But you should talk to Bob." And in Campbell, we had like over 200 people in the building. It's a big company. I said, "What department?" I thought Bob was somebody here. He said, "No, no, no. It says Bob Proctor." And he knew Bob personally. So he got me in touch with Bob. So I started talking, and Bob says, "So I need to know what you want." I say, "I don't know. What do you mean, what I want?" He says, "You have to have a goal, and what do you want?" And I remember about 2001, I was part of a group that we were trying to invest in real estate. A guy by the name of Darren Weeks was championing that. And although it was very exciting, interesting to understand real estate, but I didn't have any money to invest in real estate. So while Bob was questioning me, I said, "Yes, I remember now a few years ago, Bob, I wanted to invest in real estate." He said, "So why don't you?" I said, "But I have no money to invest in real
Mhm.
estate, so I didn't." I said, "What do you need the money for?" I'm thinking, that's a strange question. I just told him I need, he says, "You don't need any money. You don't need any money because you have not made a decision yet." He says, "Once you make the decision," he says, "You're just talking. You're just talking. You were talking about that in 2001. Now in 2006, you're still talking about it. So you have never made the decision." He says, "Once you make a committed decision, it has to be committed. You will start finding the people, the opportunities, the money, everything." I mean, I didn't believe that because, I mean, how do you find the money, the people? He says, "This is how the mind works." He says, "Most people, maybe 95% of people, don't understand how the mind works." And we kept talking, and I still didn't believe that, of course. Um, and he said, "So why did you want to invest in real estate anyway?" I said, "Well, I understand real estate is good, one of the best places to put your money in, and I really believe that. I don't tell people to invest in real estate, but that's what my personal belief." And he says, "So okay, how many properties are you talking about?" I was just throwing things. I said six. He says, "Okay, why six?" He says, "You have to have a reason. You can't just have a goal. You have to have a reason, because there's all kinds of people have all kinds of things they want. But if you don't have a reason, like it's a purpose that is going to push you forward to get you to go to your goals. I said, well, there's my wife and I have two teenage daughters. Eventually, we will have, two grandkids probably. We have three today, but I thought we would have two. And he said, oh, that's six. That's, well, that's well thought of. And I wasn't thinking, I was just saying. And he said, so how long are you going to take to do that? I said, not having any money, not sure how to do that. I said, maybe 5 years. But Caroline, that was in June of 2006. I bought my sixth property, number 6, in August of 2008. Like I thought, how did all this happen? It all happened because I believe in what Bob was telling me. One thing that really captivated me was this. He said, obviously you don't believe that you're going to have, to make it happen. I said, well, it's kind of tough for me to believe that I don't have any money. At the time I was talking to him, I said, I don't really know much about investing in real estate. He said something to me that he says in many instances, in seminars and talking to people. He says, in 1961, when I was talking to my first mentor, Ray Stanford, Ray told me, I see you don't believe in what we were talking about, Bob, but believe in my belief in you. And that's what he told me. He says, I can tell in your voice, it was on the phone, so it wasn't like Zoom or anything. It was on the phone. He said, I can hear your voice, you don't believe. He said, believe in my belief in you, because we all have potential. We're just not aware. School doesn't teach us that. Our parents don't teach us that. They don't know. And when this happened, 2008, I thought, wow. And you know what? Bob didn't teach me how to invest in real estate. But I was studying with him. I did a course with him called the Winner's Edge, the Winner's Image. That is, sorry, the Winner's Image. And then after I did that short course, I did another one called the Goal Achiever. And all throughout these courses, self-study, I got to talk to him maybe 3 times. Just that's it. But what I was doing is later I realized I was studying me. I was not studying strategies to do anything. I was studying how my mind works. I was understanding why I don't do the things that I need to do to get to my goals, that I know I can do, I should do. And I realized that why do I continue doing things that I know are going to get me away from what I want? And unconsciously, I was just doing that. And when this happened in 2006 and 2008, I thought, well, this works. This works. And I believe I know how, like the technicality behind it, I believe I know how it worked. I believe this is what happened. When I was studying with Bob, what I did is, out of the blue, and then later reading Think and Grow Rich, I realized that's what I was doing. I was creating a mastermind group around me to do the investing in real estate. I insisted that the agent that were going to work with me, this real estate agent, had to be an investor as well, real estate investor. The real estate lawyer had to be an investor. Even the home inspector, I looked for one that was, and I just put around me everybody on my team, if you will call it that understood real estate investment. I wouldn't want to work with anybody who was not an investor. So I did that, not even really consciously thinking. Later, I realized that's called a mastermind. And I think that was one of the things that really got me faster to achieve my goal. Having done that, when I look at my background, I grew up very lower middle class, not much in terms of understanding. I believed all kind of wrong things about money, about relationships, about work, about about the work meaning People don't like to go to work. They don't like their bosses. I believed all of that at the time. But I was ignorant. I grew up an ignorant person. Ignorance means not knowing the reality of life. I didn't understand me. And I'm making this story a little too long, maybe. But then I kept working. I was still working from 2006 when I first talked to Bob. In 2016, I attended a seminar that he was putting on called The Paradigm Shift.
Mm-hmm.
So that was 10 years after I started studying with Bob Proctor. And during that seminar, I realized I want to do what this guy is doing. Because of all the studies that I've done that he's taught me, if you will, I realize how much that has done for me and for the people I work with at work, and how much our goals, our objectives at work have improved. Like, you couldn't believe the way things were going. And I thought, more people need to know that. More people need to understand that. I thought, I can do this thing. And I talked to somebody in the organization, and I said, actually, they didn't sell me to become a consultant. I went and said, I want to be doing this. And then that was in October 2016. And that's what I've been doing since. That's what I've been doing since. It just changes lives. And I don't, no exaggeration, it changes lives. That's all it does. And Caroline, before I conclude answering your question, when we talk about this, we actually, what we're doing is help people understand who they are.
Mm-hmm.
I understood now that when we look in the mirror, we have no idea who we are looking at. you see, we have no idea. We have no idea. I hope this answers your questions. Long answer.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing. Now I know the whole story from the beginning, and that you met Bob in person, and this is also very unique and rare. And yeah, I celebrate you. I had not the chance to meet him, but so my next question is, can you share a success story where your transformative goal setting and mindset strategies helped a client break through significant barriers and achieve lasting success?
One person comes to mind, a real estate agent. I'm here in Toronto, so there's a suburb of Toronto called Mississauga. I was invited to attend a real estate training at the Mississauga Real Estate Board. And I was just invited as a guest. I was not there to do any seminars or any training. And I was there. I watched the training, and I thought, good. I mean, it was good training, strategies, real estate strategies. There was, I believe, 21 real estate agents in the room. And the trainer said, Jude, you want to say a few words after the training? I stood up and I congratulated him, saying, these are really good strategies. And I was very sincere. It was good strategies, and the agents were all ages. There was like a 25-year-old to a 68-year-old person in the room, all ages. And I said, this is good training. I said, but you know what? My understanding, I'm not saying that about anybody here, but my understanding is we attend training, we go to seminars, and then we go back to work, and we could keep doing the same thing that we've been doing before. Yeah. And there's something that's missing. It's mindset. But I wasn't there to talk about what I do. I just mentioned that. And as I was leaving, a gentleman in his 40s followed me into the parking lot and said, can I talk to you? I said, sure. He started talking, and I said, but I have an appointment. We can meet. Let's meet for coffee some other time. So a couple of days later, I met this guy. That was, Caroline, in October. And I said, so what's going on? He said, you said something, and I thought that maybe I can ask you some questions. He had not sold anything. no house from January to October. And that may sound surprising, but there is over 55,000 real estate agents in the Toronto area, and maybe half of, well, maybe 30-40% don't sell anything or sell one or two deals a year. And the 2% sell 24 plus. So you see the disparity. I mean, it's like it's an industry that has all kinds of ups and downs. But this guy had not sold anything in October. So we were talking. I said, well, how come? I mean, how long have you been doing this? He said, I've been an agent for about 5 years now, and I have sold a few in the past and all that. I said, well, it's October. The year's almost over. So, and I said, well, tell me what you do. How do you, go about your work? He said, well, you know what? Nothing is working. So I'm making a lot of cold calling in the morning. I said, okay. I said, but walk me through your day. Like, how do you start your day? You have a family? Yes, I have 2 kids. And I said, walk me through that from the beginning of the day. And he said, well, it's a little chaotic. We have 2 teenagers and they're loud and blah, blah, blah. I said, how about your wife? You told me you're married, you have kids. He said, yes. I said, how's that going? He said, well, not well, because I'm not making any money. Mm-hmm. Money is one of the major causes of problems in couples. And I said, okay. So you go to work, you go to your office. Yes. I said, how's traffic? I'm leading him. He's not understanding why I'm asking these questions. He said, oh, traffic getting bad every day. It's even worse, blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay. I said, so when you go to work, what happens? He said, I go to my desk and I start making calls. I said, I want you to stop doing that. He says, what? I said, well, you go to work. There's chaos at work. You're not making any money. Your wife is not happy about it. You tell me traffic is bad every day. You go to start talking to strangers with all this noise in your head. So this is going to prevent you from having good conversations. Yes. I say, what I want you to do is take a piece of paper, write down these little problems that you're having. Don't write a story like problems at home, finance, problem with wife, traffic is bad, just like that. And take that piece of paper, put it at the back of in your back pocket and sit on it. I say the expression sitting on it means you'll look at it later. Yeah. I say that will empty. I say this works. You may not believe me. I say empty your mind. I say then when you sit at your desk, don't call people. Just stay quiet for a minute. I said, do you know that you're breathing right now? I mean, the guy was starting to get upset with me because I'm not giving him any tips to be successful. I said, do you realize? And I say that. He said, yes, of course. I said, well, you were not thinking you were breathing a minute ago. No. I said, when you get to your desk, just close your eyes, take a minute, just breathe. Just focus on what you, just pay attention, feel your breathing in and out, in and out. This will calm you down completely. And then you start talking. You pick up the phone and you start. I say, as soon as you hear hello, put a smile on your face before you say hello. He was not looking very happy because I wasn't helping, apparently. But anyway, I said, put a smile on your face because people will hear your smile. You may have never have heard that before. He said, okay. And then I said, before you talk to somebody on the phone in the morning, what is the purpose of calling people? He said, well, I need to sell houses. I need money. I say, oh, I understand. I say, I understand. Who pays your bills? Who writes your check? He says, the broker. I said, no, it's your clients who pays you through the broker. He says, you're going to talk to your bosses each time you pick up the phone. That's your boss on the phone. I said, at the same time, these are cold calling. You're doing cold calls. So you're interrupting people in their morning routine. If anybody gives you the opportunity to talk to them, you should be grateful. Yes. Because sometimes even when we have an appointment with someone, we show up, we're interrupting their day anyway. So if somebody spends a couple of minutes with you on the phone, you have to be grateful. And gratitude is part of what I'm asking you to be doing here. Anyway, I said, if you do that, you will start seeing changes. We left the coffee shop. He wasn't looking too happy because I didn't give him strategies. People look for strategies.
Mhm.
That was end of October, Caroline. I remember December 31st at 3 p.m. I will never forget this. He calls, he said, "Hi, this is Victor. Do you remember me?" I said, "Sure, I know who you are." I said, "How's it going, Victor?" The only thing he said, "I sold 2 houses." I said, "No, how did you do that?" I was just pulling his leg. I said, "How you do that?"
Mhm.
He said, when we left the coffee shop, I really was upset with you. I thought you were not giving me any tips. I wasted my time. And when I went to work, I kept doing what I was doing. He said, after 2 or 3 days, I thought, what have I got to lose?
Mhm.
Let me try that because it hasn't worked for me before. Nothing has worked. As he started doing that, he said, "You know what? On day 2 or 3, my conversation starts to be different with the people I was talking to. I was really hearing them and they were hearing me." I said, "Okay." And, and then he said, things started to change because I really understand who I was talking to. These are the people who I need. They don't need me. I need them.
Mhm.
And but I said, you both need each other. I mean, the people need you as well. But you have to understand, you have to be grateful because they are giving you the opportunity to talk to them because there are other agents they can work with. They're working with you.
Mhm.
And he said, I sold 2 houses. And he said, "Well, you saved my kids' Christmas." I said, "I didn't do anything. Just give you a couple of tips." But at the time, you didn't understand what I was telling you. It had to take a couple of days, a few days for it to sink,
Mhm.
and then it worked. And I believe if he only sold 2 houses on that year, that was 2019, Caroline.
Mhm.
I said, I believe even if you just sold two, I believe if he sold just 2 houses, he was a very successful real estate agent
Yes.
because he started believing in himself. He started understanding that success is not out there, it's in here.
Yes.
We just get it out. We don't need to pay attention to the noise in the news and what the government is doing or whatnot, because that is going to make paralyze us and say, my God, the world is ending. The world is not ending. We
No.
have to just start believing in who we are and how this works. When we look in the mirror, let's understand who we are looking at. You know,
Absolutely.
I think Victor was a very successful story, a very successful real estate agent, and he was not even my client. He didn't pay me. I didn't ask him to any. I just
Mhm.
trying to. And Bob told us that leave everybody you encounter with the impression of increase. That's the only thing I did. And I was very happy for him, even if he wasn't a paid client.
Wow. I love that story. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
sharing.
Yeah.
And this was our interview, by the way. And I know, please reach out to Jude, please, dear listeners, because he's amazing. And I will put the link in the show notes. You find it there, his contact details. Thank you so much for our interview. If you have the last message for the audience, please, real quick.
I think it doesn't matter who you are, really, Caroline. I think what I understood, from studying with Bob, from following his teachings, if you will. I think the first thing we want to understand is ourselves. Is ourselves. I believe if you had asked me before I met Bob, like 20 years ago, for example, who are you? I would tell you my name. I would give you my name. As Bob, so that's 2 words. As Bob said, if I say I'm Bob Proctor, these are 2 words. I can change my name tomorrow, but I don't become it. It doesn't mean I become a different person. I think we have to understand who we are, how much potential we have, and without talking religion, we have to understand that we are God's highest form of creation. we tend to forget that if we know of it, and most of the time we are not even aware of it. We're not aware of our potential. And to be successful, there's very little we need outside of us. It's just the ability to get it out of ourselves. Because potential is not out there, it's inside. Belief is not out there, it's inside. We just have to believe in who we are. And it's a very easy thing to do, but it's very misunderstood. You see, it's simple. Let me correct that. It's not very easy. It's very simple, easy, but very misunderstood.
Oh,
And
thank you so much for our
yeah,
message. Now our time is up, and I'm so grateful for your time today in our interview. Please reach out to Jude and see you in the next episode.
thank you, Caroline.